Good morning, everybody. Those of you that are on the Public Safety Subcommittee, if you would, please take your seats. Colonel Hitchens. Probably won't go ahead and sit down. We got quiet in here. Wondering where the rest of our folks are. Oh, Chairman Neal is right outside the door, headed in. Matt. Now that we have members of the committee here, let me explain what I'm doing up here instead of Chairman Powell. Those of you that have not heard, Chairman Powell's daughter Jessica was found on Friday, passed out in their home, and was rushed to the hospital and is in Phoebe today in ICU. Severe dehydration. Not exactly sure of what the permanent injuries, if there are any, are going to be. She is on a ventilator at this point in time. I've told Chairman Powell that we believe we could cover this for him and that his place and responsibility was to be there and not here. A lot of times some of us tend to lose sight that family comes first when we get elected and come up here to start working. And you know, there are times that you need to be at home with your family, and this is one of those for him. And so we told him that we would muddle through it this morning. He had left me some good notes, so that of course helps. And if y'all would just keep he and their family in your prayers. We opened this morning early with a prayer for them, and I'm sure the speaker will make mention of that this morning as well as we open session. So anyway, moving along, if you will, looking at your tracking documents on Section 5 of the Court of Appeals. The common changes are going to be all rolled up on the top of the sheet. Of course, those are things that we have to do as a General Assembly that the governor cannot recommend. So we have handled those. You'll see those scattered throughout the document. Under Court of Appeals on 5.1.6, you'll notice where there had been an add of 225,016. We have lessened that add to 112,508, and that restores 2 of 4 furlough days. We also eliminated one-time funds on 5.1.7 that were used to replace some computers. That's the only changes there. Section 6, Judicial Council, you'll see the common changes again. Then under Accountability Courts at 6.1.1, moving one position from there to the CJCC. The statewide e-filing initiative, we're just asking them at this point to not expand anything but just utilize the current staff to support the e-filing. The Institute for Judicial Education, we just lessen the add there for some travel, and that's actually getting it in line with projected operating expenses. Then if you'll look under Judicial Council at 6.5.1, on those rural judicial circuits, we're just asking that pilot project continue but not expand into any new circuits at this time. And then on the probate judges dealing with an executive director position, we're not recommending funding for that yet, maybe at some point in the future there. And then under the council, carrying on with what we did in the fiscal year 13 amended budget, just a 1% reduction in funds there. Under Section 7, Juvenile Courts, common changes at the top, and then the Council of Juvenile Court Judges, again a 1% reduction, just mirroring what we did in the amended 13. Prosecuting attorneys, Common changes at the top. Council of Superior Court Clerks, the 1% reduction there. 8.2.1 under DAs, those assistant DAs we're saying instead of 25, we're just going to do 12 at this time. And for them to be located in the areas of greatest need and actually maybe kind of be a flex ADAs for particular circuits. 8.2.4, annualization of funds that was put in by the governor. That's not required, so we've taken that out. 8.2.7, that's where House Bill 451 adds a new judgeship in the Chattahoochee Judicial Circuit. We're just saying that we'll add one ADA there starting January 1 of 2014. Under Prosecuting Attorneys Council, there was an increase asked for there on 8.3.1, and we're just providing for half of that increase there. Moving on to Superior Courts, the common changes roll up at the top of the document. Then when you look at the Council of Superior Court Judges under 9.1.3, that 1% reduction we've talked about on the councils. The Judicial Administrative Districts, 9.2.1. We reduced that add to meet the actual operating expenses or projected operating expenses there. Under Superior Court Judges, 9.3.1, we are disagreeing with the reduction of $749,000 for the senior judges. We've restored that there, being, of course, again, mindful of what we did in the 13 budget, which was restore those funds as well. 9.3.3 and 9.3.4, we did not make those two adds. The first one, the positions were not essential. The next one was a pay raise issue, and we're not doing those at this particular time for state-funded positions, so we didn't feel like it would be the right thing to do for just a handful of folks there. Not saying they don't deserve it, just saying that until we're able to do pay raises for everyone statewide, we're going to hold off on that. 9.3.6, that's allowing for the Superior Court Judgeship in the Chattahoochee Circuit, again starting January 1 of 2014. Moving on to Section 10, Supreme Court, the common changes there at the top. And then on 10.1.4, adding one staff attorney position, but we're saying let's start that January 1 instead of July 1. Department of Corrections, Section 18. 18.6.1, we found that with their partnership with the medical college over at Augusta, I think Georgia Regents University at Augusta, with them going in and doing a lot of the medical care, it's provided quite a savings for the Department of Corrections. So we're just trying to capitalize on about $1.5 million of those savings there. And then 18.8 and 18.11 is just a realignment of funds to properly align for budget and expenditures there. It's no cut. It's just a cut in one program and an add back in another one to meet their projected need. Section 19, Department of Defense. You'll see one change, and that's on 19.2.3, dealing with the Military Interstate Compact, and that's just truing it up with the actuals for that bill. Section 29, GBI. You'll look at 29.1.1, the contract services for security at the headquarters. They were going to use agents to fill those positions. It winds up that it costs us about the same to keep the contract, and that way thus freeing up those agents to do work instead of having to do security at the door. So we're disagreeing there. On 29.2.2, there was an increase in what the fingerprint fees were bringing in, $7 increase there, so we're recognizing that savings of state funds, making a reduction there. Under 29.3.1, forensic sciences, you'll see the second of three installments there on the pay parity issue, the career ladders. Under 29.3.2 is elimination of funds for equipment that was purchased in 13. And then on 29.3.3, it's some chemistry unit positions there that were funded with federal money. That federal money is going away, so we're picking that up with state funds. Moving on to Regional Investigative Services, 29.4.4. We restored about half of the travel there to meet the projected travel for next year. 2945, dealing with personal services. We did a reduction to align it more with actual expenditures. 2946, dealing again with the pay parity issue, the career ladder, an add there of 1.7 million. And then 2947 and 2948 are two more of those issues dealing with the federal funds disappearing and us picking it up with state funds. Under CJCC 2951, you'll see an increase for the accountability court program support. We've lessened that just a little bit, but we're still providing two positions to administer the accountability courts. 2953 deals with the juvenile incentive funding grant program. That was initially in the governor's budget under the governor's office of children and families. After talking with them and looking and trying to find its best fit, we figured that CJCC had done a very good job on the accountability courts, getting those rolled out, and so we're moving that 5 from GOSIF over to here. Section 30, juvenile justice, 30.1.2. There's one change there dealing with non-secure detention monitoring, and we're just saying switch all of the non-secure detention monitoring slots over to active GPS monitoring. That will allow us to pick up about a $700,000 savings there. Department of Law, no changes. Pardons and paroles, no changes. Public defenders, 36.2.1. That is annualizing two positions that were put in the 2012-2013, or actually 2013 budget, where two new circuits were formed in Piedmont and Bell-Forsyth. That's just annualizing those judgeships. And then 36.2.2 is doing a half a year starting January 1 for the Chattahoochee Judicial Circuit. Under public safety, section 38, looking at 38.5.1, we're just eliminating that ad at this point in time. We'll look at that a little bit later. 38.6.1, there was a plan to move some of the motor carrier compliance back and forth between Department of Revenue and Public Safety. That's not ready to happen yet, so we're kind of pulling back on that. So you see an add back of $729,000 there. Under 38.9, Firefighter Standards and Training Council, that $16,000 add is a full-time position. It's actually a contracted position to support online testing. On to 38.11.3, where the governor was recommended using other funds, replacing state funds with other funds. There are no other funds available at this point, so we've taken that cut out. Then there's a reduction in personal services of 3% in 38.11.5. Then the next piece you'll see is 38.12.4. We're agreeing with the money coming out for the North Central Georgia Law Enforcement Training Academy. However, that's going to put additional pressure on the Dalton facility, so we've done a $200,000 add back there to help meet those projected increase in expenditures. That walks you through very quickly. I'll be glad to answer any, or try to answer any questions if I can. If none, we'll entertain a motion. Have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion and a second to approve. All in favor, let me know by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you.